after action reports in order to help improve on projects that we already have. So sometimes it is better to just go with what you have and then work on perfecting it, quote unquote, later. I don't have a 9 to 5. I have a when I open my eyes to when I close my eyes. Now, unless you're a parent or have a pet that you treat as a child, you shouldn't have the when I open my eyes to when I close my eyes mentality going to work. More work hours don't always result in more productivity. Matter of fact, they can slow you down, because if you're spending more hours at work, what are you doing to recharge your batteries? What are you doing for your personal life, for your personal growth, for your resiliency? You're doing whatever you can just to finish current tasks by the end of regular work hours instead of working into the night. Give yourself grace and understand, again, it will be there tomorrow. Work that requires focused thinking and work that doesn't should be separated. So menial tasks should be blocked off. What you consider menial, that's up to you. Sometimes responding to email to me is just menial. Because it's okay, yeah, I accept this meeting. It's best to reply to someone as soon as you read their correspondence if it will only take a couple minutes. But don't get into that train wreck of, oh, this one takes 2 minutes, okay, this next one takes 2 minutes, this next one takes 2 minutes, because then you're going back right into that cycle, and then how much time have you wasted from what you were going to be working on? Let's take the example of recent events of COVID-19 and having to work from home. At first, you might have seen all the benefits. You know, I can sleep in a little bit later, don't have to commute, depending on what you're doing. You may not have to even dress up if you're a person who fixes your, quote unquote, fixes your face in the morning. Unless you have a Zoom call or something like that, you may not even have to do that, because nobody's going to know. For that reason, even when you're working at home, it's important to have a defined schedule. Have a defined space, because at those times you're going to even have distractions. Maybe your wife, your kids, Fido, neighbor coming over, what have you. Make sure that people know that even though your job location has changed, what you're doing has not changed. You'll disrupt your flow if you're sending emails or updating your schedule all day. So again, go back to the specific times and be purposeful about how you're using that time to change things. A good rule of thumb is if you can answer it again in 2 minutes or less, go ahead and answer it. If not, see if it can wait. Now, if it's the commander, first sergeant, your supervisor, I would suggest waiting. If you saw it, I would go ahead and do it. But if it's going to be important enough that they need to get to you and you haven't looked at it, they're going to find another avenue to get in touch with you and say, hey, have you seen that email? Massive tasks are easier to manage when seen as increments. I love this. The old joke about how do you eat an elephant, one bit at a time. Sometimes we're so overwhelmed about the scope of what we're trying to accomplish, we put ourselves into panic mode, and that panic mode freezes us, and how much time do we wait? Do we waste in that? So break it down. What are the immediate steps? What are those steps that you need to do in handling the immediate task in front of you? Because you handle those immediate tasks, you handle it bit by bit, and eventually you're going to eat the entire elephant. So what can be seen as a mammoth task can be broken down into component pieces. If it takes you more than 20 minutes to get started, move on to something else. Because if it's taking more than 20 minutes, what's your cutoff going to be? Is it going to be 30? Is it going to be 40? Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be, oh yeah, 3 hours later, yeah, I'm still working on this. But you never actually got started. Going back to finding the small tasks that you can accomplish. Find I'm blanking on the word right here. Find something to get some momentum going. Sometimes it's just doing that small task that gets you to where you're not waiting 20 minutes to start a task. If you find that you're sitting there for 20 minutes, also probably not a time to start that task. Find something easy for you to start. No two tasks ever hold the same importance. Always know one thing you really need to get done and do that during the day. For most people, they need a to-do list. To-do lists stress me out. There are some of us who need to figure out a way to prioritize things, And one of these ways might be a quadrant like this, which Stephen Covey puts out, where is it important and urgent? That would go in my quadrant 1. Is it important and not urgent? That goes in my quadrant 2. Is it not important but urgent? That's a quadrant 3. And not important, not urgent goes into my quadrant 4. So the important thing to remember is that you'll need to find a way to prioritize it and figure out which quadrants those items go into. That way you have the energy or drive to focus on things that really need your attention now and immediately. Here's another view of something similar, where it's the same quadrants, but they put in there the example of completing a project by the deadline. That's in quadrant 1. It's important and it's urgent. Change the oil in your car, important but not urgent. Okay, well, if your car is on 5% oil life, or you're down a quart of oil, it's more important. But you have to know your vehicle in order to assess that. Not important but urgent. Somebody brought in your favorite donuts and they're sitting in the break room. That might be urgent because you want to get it before the donuts are gone. You know, but is it really important you have that donut? Is that going to make a big change in the grand scheme of things if you don't get a donut? Just saying. And lastly, not important, not urgent, commenting on pictures of funny cats on the internet, or finding that next great meme. That should be down far on your list. It's necessary to delegate some work to other people, whether it be professionally or personally. There is a rule of thumb, according to John C. Maxwell, the author of How Successful People Think, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, that if somebody you know can do that job the same as you, 80% or better, by all means delegate it to them if you don't have the time to accomplish it. Sometimes we get attached though. It's our baby, or it's something that I really enjoy doing. But you have these other responsibilities. Know when you are overtasked, you are stretched. We don't want to go back to that burnout picture where your head exploded. So find that person that you can trust, that is competent, and let them do some of it. That's why I love some of these pictures, because we can even delegate at home. The gentleman over here might be a wonderful sanitizer, and that's why he gets to clean the counter. And maybe over here, I don't know who's helping who, but maybe we're using a mentorship moment in order so the other person can understand what the grand scope of something is, so that we can go out and we can accomplish it and I can turn over something to them. Focusing on the past will hinder progress. I don't know about you, but I've been in those meetings where I'm like, hey, this is a great idea, da 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 da, only to be shot down by other people. Oh, we tried that, it didn't work. Don't focus on the past. The past is the past. You have to look at it as there's new people, new experiences, maybe new technology. Maybe now is the time that will be successful, and maybe it's a way that it will help us manage tasks. Don't distract yourself with successes either, because just because something succeeded in the past doesn't mean it's going to succeed now. Take notes. I'm one of those people, I always tell people that I'll remember it. So even just this week, a colleague of mine came up to me, told me something that he was going to do, so I could type it in and put it on Facebook. And then I had to go back to him and go, I heard you, I understood you. Is this what you told me? Because I didn't write it down. I used to be a manager in a child care facility, and people would stop and talk to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I got it, I remember. Walk away, talk to somebody else, oh okay. By the time I got to my office, I'm like, wait a minute. What did person 1 and 2 tell me? Because persons 3 and 4 distracted me. And let me tell you, it came to egg on my face a time or two. And they started going, do you have pen and paper so you can write this down so you remember what we told you? It happens. Or have you had that really great thought, you're working on a project and it finally clicks, but it's like 2 a.m. in the morning? You're not going to, hopefully, you're not going to stay up at 2 a.m. in the morning and work on that project. Keep pen and paper beside your bed, write it down. That way you don't lose that thought and you can start on it again in the morning. I guess the moral of the story is don't assume you'll remember every good idea that comes into your head or what everybody's going to tell you. It doesn't matter if it's a notebook, whiteboard, or an app on your phone. Make sure you write it down so you don't forget it. Keeping larger objectives in mind will help you get through your days. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on what you want to accomplish. It might just be, I just need to accomplish one thing today to make myself feel successful, because that was that worthwhile time that I needed. There is a movie that I think sort of shows this. It's a movie called Facing the Giants. And there's a football coach that's talking to his team because he's having a hard time with his team. And he tells them, I don't care if you win or lose, I just want your best. So he goes to the motivator on the team and goes, how far do you think you can do a death crawl down this football field? For those of you who don't know what it is, it's on your hands and on your feet, with your knees not touching, with a 160-pound person on your back. The kid goes, Coach, maybe 20 yards? He goes, okay, let's go test that. Gets him over there, calls another player over, puts the other player on his back, then blindfolds him. He goes, Coach, why are you blindfolding me? He goes, because I don't want anything getting in your way of you doing your best. I don't want you getting to that 20-yard line and quitting because you've hit that 20-yard line. At the end of that scene, that player had crawled from one end zone to the other because he didn't know what his limitations were. Taking time to think about our limitations and putting those in proper perspective, knowing what our priorities are. If your priority is at that other end zone, but you get distracted at the 50-yard line, you're not going to make it to the end zone. So another way to keep things in larger objectives is through life coaching, which everybody here at the Airmen and Family Readiness are certified life coach. We can help you further explore time management if that's something on your goals, or we can help you with financial, health, spiritual. We can help you build that vision statement to get you to where you want to be, and help keep you accountable and talk to you about how things are going so that we keep you and help you celebrate those small successes along the way. We want to make sure that you are truly living your best life. So with that, and I'm sorry this slide is a little overwhelming. I probably should have changed the font to black. But in a recap, remember there is always time. Days always get filled up faster than you expect. You get more done when you're in the success zone. You should pursue activities that benefit you personally and professionally. There's a difference between pushing yourself and burnout. Multitasking kills your focus. Distractions can be controlled. Accomplishing something small is the best way to get working. Being a perfectionist can be a major crutch for day-to-day activities. More work hours don't necessarily mean more productivity. Work that requires focused thinking and work that doesn't should be separated. If it takes you more than 20 minutes, find another task. Massive tasks are easier to manage when seen in small increments. No two tasks ever hold the same importance. Always know the one thing you need to get done each day. It's necessary to delegate some work to other people. Focusing on the past can hinder progress. Take notes, and keeping larger objectives in mind will help you get through your days. Remember, the Airmen and Family Readiness Center is here for you to answer any further questions you may have about time management. You can reach us at 501-987-2667, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. Thank you.